Welcome back to Girls Rewatch Podcast. I'm Amelia Ritaler.
And I'm Evan Lazarus.
And this is a podcast where we rewatch shows about girls.
Oh my god. I've never been more excited for a guest, more nervous for a guest, but I think those are the two most correlating emotions on earth.
I'm about to play It So Cool. Y'all don't even know what you're looking like. I'm about to play It So Cool in my sundress.
I try to dress as slutty as possible for Judd Apatow, even though you can only see me waist up.
It's our little secret, the people who bother to watch the intro.
If you're watching the intro today, you're going to see me in golden little shorts, my fry boots that are knee high, and a Misunderstood Genius shirt merch online.
And I'm Demi Lovato, cool for the summer in my sundress.
Cool
Newly, obviously. Link below for my, I wish.
Wait, you should add your code there anyway, just for fun,
my
girl.
code that's just for friends and family.
Yeah.
This is my friends and family. We're so excited for our guest. We literally went upstairs to
we went
Evan's
to
parents'
upstate
house.
so we could write the outline for this episode. We needed a complete silence.
Should we say that? Because what if they're like, they did a terrible job, and it's like to know that we planned it out. It's like the difference between stand-up and improv where it's like they plan to say this.
We went upstate so we could plan to do improv.
We're so excited. Everybody better go see, what is it called?
Judd Apatow and Friends New York Comedy Festival. I'm already seeing it with my parents.
So isn't it interesting? And comment down below if you agree that Evan would choose to, without even bringing it up to me, book a show to see.
I did bring it up to you.
After you purchased the tickets.
Well, yeah, that's me bringing it up.
Don't you think it's weird that Evan didn't think to invite their friend Amelia that they host a podcast about Judd Apatow with? But no, they said this is just for me, my mom, and my dad.
Last year, Adam Sandler performed. And famously, Judd Apatow and Adam Sandler were roommates.
You know, I love when something's Judd Apatow and Friends, but then it's all the brunette girls I like.
I hope his wife is there.
Leslie?
I hope she does stand up
Redhead.
for once. I hope she does stand up for once. I still live and die by those words.
Should we tell people that we recorded with Andrew Rannells this morning, actually, and we did an outfit change?
Yeah, we did this morning at 10 a.m. record with Andrew Rannells, and then we decided 7 hours later to do the Judd Apatow episode.
So this is the biggest day of our lives, and it's awesome for me because I'm using PTO, which I've never done in my entire adult life or child life. So I literally bought mini melts, is what they're called, at the Walgreens, Dippin' Dots.
Oh, the mini dots.
Because I'm on summer break.
The mini dots, huh?
But we hope you don't mind that we've been re-releasing episodes. We're sprinkling a few new special ones for you.
I like that you took personal time so you could work extra hard today.
I know. I'm taking personal time to focus on our podcast social media accounts. Okay, let's just get to Judd, shouldn't we?
Oh my god, people don't want to hear this. When Judd's on the line, you cannot just banter.
All right, we are so excited to talk to kind of the god of comedy. We cannot wait to girl out with Mr. Judd Apatow.
We have so many fun segments for him, and by that I mean we made one custom segment for him, and it's so exciting.
Freak the hell out right now
Cross
for the one, the only
Judd Apatow.
Oh my god. Cross dissolve. It's Judd Apatow.
Thank you so much for being here.
Well, happy to be here.
We're so excited. So Judd is performing stand-up live with some of his closest friends at the Beacon Theater on Saturday, November 9th at 8 p.m. as a part of the New York Comedy Festival. And it's so funny that you were like, I want to plug that because Evan already got
tickets. Me, my mom, my dad. It's going to be the best night of our lives.
It's going to be good. You go to nycomedyfestival.com to get tickets. And I only plug it because if I don't, what if there was no one there? That would be so embarrassing.
It would be the worst. There's nothing worse than us producing a show for no one. Wait, okay, let's dive in all the way back to the beginning. So you saw Tiny Furniture when it was in the indie circuit or something, and you were like, I have to know this girl. And then she thought she was being Ashton Kutcher punked.
Well, I was given a DVD of it before it was in theaters. Wow. And then I wrote Lena an email and said how much I loved it, how much I related to the idea of working with your family and telling personal stories. And I said, if you ever need anyone to screw up your work, let me know. And I guess she didn't think it was real. And at the point she thought it was. And it turned out that she was in the middle of setting up a show at HBO with Jenni, Konner, who I worked with on Undeclared and other projects. And they said, do you want to jump on board and help out? And I said, of course.
Oh my God.
Beautiful story. So then how did you What was it for you that was so compelling to like help create a show about female narratives as a man?
I didn't really think about it in those terms. I just thought that Lena seemed incredibly talented with a lot to say, and I loved the tone and vibe of her work. And I really thought I'd love to help her get this going and to give her whatever clout I have or knowledge I have to make it less painful. I mean, I went through a lot of really painful television experiences early in my career, like Freaks and Geeks, where we were so excited about the show, but felt like the network didn't understand it, and we got beat up a lot and canceled early. And I thought, well, maybe there's a way to try to help prevent that part of it.
Yeah, imagine if Freaks and Geeks happened to girls.
It'd be
We wouldn't be here. We love Freaks and Geeks. I feel like it's having a renaissance as well. It invented Busy Phillips, so.
It is it seems to always be around, and it's weird because when we were canceled, 3 of the episodes hadn't even aired. We didn't even know if they ever would air. We didn't know if it would ever come out on DVD. Streaming wasn't even invented, so we had to finish the last 3 episodes in editing when we weren't even on TV.
That is so sad.
They put them on in the summer on a Saturday night, all 3 episodes, and just burned them off.
Oh my
And then
God.
a couple of years later, Shout Factory said they would put out the DVD, and then we got picked up to be on all sorts of different channels that aired it, and then streamers, and so it seems to disappear and come back, and that's been really great. And so now I feel like more people see it in 2024 than saw it back then. And girls
talk about delayed gratification by like a decade or 2.
Exactly. Yeah, and the fact that recently we realized, it's never going to go away, because you do a lot of work and sometimes you make things and you realize, that disappeared down the algorithm. That's in a digital black hole. And, it may not even be offered up as a suggestion on a streamer. And if how do you know things are there? There's hundreds of thousands of things floating around. So when you have something like Girls or Freaks and Geeks, where you realize, this is almost like the Wizard of Oz. It's just going to be out there.
Right.
It somehow is, in a space where each generation is going to probably catch up with it for a while. That's when you're the happiest.
Would you claim that to like why we're seeing the resurgence of Girls today?
I think it's because when Girls came out, there were always these controversies around things that were happening. And the next generation, which I guess it's kind of, a quarter to the next generation or partially to the next generation, they don't know anything about the making of it or the times. They just watch the show and they really like it. And I think that maybe some aspects of TV have gotten a little watered down since we made the show. And so maybe it seems a little more shocking or honest in a way that there's a little less of, at least in this moment. That could change, tomorrow.
We're begging for the next Girls, but it is like, we get comments every day where it's like, no show acts like this. Why is this the only show that's written so fun? But I'm so curious, still like shaping the show, like landing on the 4 girls. I know Shoshana wasn't necessarily like original 4 girl. Like when you were coming up with like the pilot and like working on like locking all that in, like what was that process like?
Lena had a very specific idea of all the characters, and I think a lot of it evolved once Lena cast them, and then she started rehearsing and writing to them, and we had a table read, and we could hear it. And then at some point you're merging the actors with the characters, and things from their personalities and their lives start making it into the show. And that's when things get really great, when the people can make it their own, and slowly you go, oh my God, it'd be hilarious to have Allison Williams rap a Kanye West song. You just start getting a sense of what everybody's capable of, and then it's a whole other place.
There's so many talented singers. Y'all should have done a musical episode, Grey's Anatomy style.
I wish there was only more of Allison Williams.
Yeah.
It does feel like almost.
I didn't realize that she did a Fast Car in the last episode, because I haven't rewatched the show since it aired. And then this clip of her doing Fast Car suddenly was circulating when that song got hot a couple of months ago, and I just thought, oh yeah, that's so perfect. And that was the song that she sang in the last episode.
I think
So
Morgan
funny.
Wallace kind of stole the idea from her.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
That's
We-
not the person's name who sang it with Tracy Chapman. We have to find out.
We need to find out. Well, that's one of the most covered songs of all time. It's the first concert I ever went to. I saw Fast Cars. Like, I love this song, and then I realized it was a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll never not be covered.
I love it. Well, let's dive into our first segment. We have a very important question that we all ask all our guests. Judd Apatow, girl, what girl are you?
I've never been asked that before. You know, I'm an Alex Karpovsky.
You're right.
That's what I am. I always felt like that was how I was able to express some of my feelings about what was happening on the show, was through Alex's character.
I could totally see that. Is there like any episode that sticks out that you're like, Ray in this episode was so me for real?
Well, I had a girlfriend once, and she loved McDonald's, and she always talked about how she loved McDonald's because it was so consistent that you could go anywhere in the country or in the world and it would taste exactly the same, and how that made her so happy and made her felt secure that was out there. And so when they were doing the first episode, I remember pitching that idea to Lena as Alex's retort to their attitude, that he felt that they were being snobby, and then he talked about how great McDonald's was.
Yeah, that perfectly encapsulated his whole thing immediately.
I've since stopped eating McDonald's.
Why? They're having $2 McFlurries right now. You gotta go.
I know. It took me a long time, but as a child, we would eat McDonald's 3 or 4 times a week as an actual meal. Not like me at lunch sneaking there, but like literally my mom taking us to McDonald's and going, I've covered a meal.
Oh my God.
It's amazing I'm standing with the amount of McDonald's must be healthy.
And like, if you want to be a successful producer, give your kids a lot of Happy Meals growing up.
Right? A lot of chicken McNuggets, a lot of McFlurries.
I just feel like that was my story too growing up. And and I still ran cross country.
Yeah, see,
you can
ran
do both.
Fueled about McDonald's. You know what I would eat at McDonald's? I would have 2 Quarter Pounders, plain, nothing
on it.
That was a special order. You had to wait, like it's a wait in the back for it to come out. It took me, only till about 10 years ago to fully grow up and accept ketchup.
You're like, what if we added a little bit of ketchup?
No, it's the whole thing about fat, acid, salt, heat. It's like you do have to add one of them at a time.
Yes.
You have to go with salt, and then you can add acid when you finally feel mature enough.
See?
I was the same way. Oh my God.
Okay, it's time so we have a segment called Leaning into Lena, but we thought we'd rename it today special for you.
Oh, I hope you like this.
Juicy Scoop with Judd. Okay, what was your favorite episode to film? Or a favorite if it's too hard to pick one.
A favorite episode when we were filming. Well, my job on the show was usually to not be there. I was like the fresh set of eyes reading the drafts. Everyone would go to New York and I would visit a bit, but mainly my job was to help out as they were breaking stories and on the writing, writing some episodes, but to be the person who could read them. So when they were exhausted shooting the show, there was one person who could read all the episodes and give notes and, at least give my opinion of how it was working. And then Lena and Jenni would do whatever they want. But so I wasn't there a ton. I made a point of going to the last episode. I remember watching the last scenes with Adam Driver and Lena, which were very emotional to see. And I definitely wanted to, be there for some of those moments when people left. I remember the first Andrew Reynolds scene.
Oh my God, he was telling us that you were like sneaking and whispering things about Peter Scolari in his ear, and then it all came together from there.
Well, that was the first scene where I think Lena realized that we could improvise as well as write the scripts. Lena is a brilliant writer, and I'm sure she always worked loosely, but I think that I always worked like very, very loosely, where we would fully open it up at times when we would shoot the Ben Stiller show or the Adam McKay films or my films. Improvisation was a big part of it. And so the day where she had the first confrontation with Andrew Rannells, where she finds out that he's gay. We were in a restaurant, and we made a point of shooting multiple cameras at the same time so that they could improvise. And in that scene, Andrew said that Peter Scolari's character, your dad, is gay. And it was an improv from Andrew, a brilliant one. And then as the seasons went on, Lena and Jenni Konner embraced the idea that what if that was true?
Yeah.
And that became a big storyline to the show, but it only came out of the fact that Andrew thought of it.
It feels so premeditated too, because he's like, that's a gay guy if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
It's really brutal. It's
His
beautiful.
ear is pierced.
And a boy's trip.
Yeah.
There's no more defining.
I wasn't there when Peter Scolari was fully naked in the shower. I missed that there. I wanted to be there.
I remember Lena said that you wrote that one though. She was like, that was Judd.
And that moment, I can't remember fully, but I remember seeing the footage just thinking, what a brave actor he is, and just how hilarious it was. Because also I get a bad back too. Like I know those moments where like you just go down.
Right.
You're naked and down and you need help. It's not a place that you want to be.
So real. But no, thank God we made him gay, because then we got so much Becky Ann Baker's emotional arc, which we're in love with her. I mean, she was on Freaks and Geek. Is that how you met her? Or?
Yes, she was on Freaks and Geeks, and couldn't have been greater. We love her so much, and so her name came up early, and she seemed like appropriate casting. So, like for me, a dream to have two experiences with Becky Ann Baker on both of those shows, and I just think the work she did was ridiculous, and she's so funny and so real, and how annoyed she would get with Hannah's character.
Yeah.
And you could tell from the first scene in the first episode when she's laying out her plan for her life and how much money she needs to live in the city, and the reaction of Becky Ann Baker was...
Well, she does deserve a lake house. I feel that every day of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think it's so much to ask for $26,000.
Looking back, she should have gave it to her.
Yeah.
But it was funny when Lena was writing the first episode. It was, well, what happens in the first episode? Because a lot of pilots and TV shows, they're bad because they try to do too much and there's too much exposition.
Right.
And this idea that was about it, the whole episode is just about, will you give me money? That's really the only story to it. Like, will you give me? No. Then she, takes some
the housekeeper's money.
She takes the ecstasy, the fake ecstasy, like herbal ecstasy, gets high and asks a second time, tries to read some of her writing, passes out, and then steals the maid's money. And that's it. That's the whole story. But
it's so iconic.
So much ground, though.
Because anytime any of my friends or family talk about a good pilot, they're talking about the girls' pilot.
Yeah.
So many pilots are doing too much, but it's like, that's simple. We are introduced to Jessa, and she rolls in asleep in a taxi. There's no better way to meet that girl.
I know. All the Shoshana and Jessa intro scene perfectly encapsulates their whole it's so good.
What is your favorite episode?
What a good question. I said Beach House earlier today, but I don't know. I really like American Bitch.
American Bitch is so good.
Yeah, that has really... I think it's one of more nuanced stories around Me Too, and it came out even before the larger surge into Me Too, and it's still really... It highlights sexual assault in such an interesting way, and shows the nuance of both the assaulter and assaulted. I don't know, and that episode really spoke to me.
That one's good. Beach House is probably my favorite just because I've lived it. That is my life. But also all the bottle ones where it's One Man's Trash or Panic in Central Park. All the hits. We stalked what on IMDb, which ones you wrote. You love to write the ones where it's the most cinematic episodes are all these ones. Homebird, all the season finales.
Oh, you wrote Iowa? Iowa's definitely one of my favorite.
When Elijah queens out in Iowa, it changed my life.
I always tried to pick, something that would be fun to write, with Lena or with Lena and Jenni. Sometimes the three of us would write them together. And the one that makes me laugh that I always think about was the one where Lena and Adam Driver's sex is getting stale. And so they
She
decide
puts
to
on the blonde
role
wig.
play.
Role play.
Yeah. She puts on the blonde wig and starts saying like, "You're like a freak," from like high school. Like they're playing some role play of like he's like the weird boy in high school, and then it really offends him, and it's sad. And there was something about that episode. Also, the greatest costume design ever is the outfit that
Oh my!
she's
All the straps.
yeah. Like there's like no fabric, but just straps over most of it. But I think about that scene as being a funny one. And also the beach house I like because anytime they would go to all out war and really rip each other apart, I just always found
Shoshana
that so
knows how
funny.
to be a mean girl.
Yeah, I mean, I like people yelling at each other. That's maybe one of my weaknesses. That when you just start screaming, "I hate you," and you just it's not even witty anymore. That
Right.
that's one of my favorite things. And I believe the second to last episode, there's variations of it
Oh my
all.
god, the shower. What was your influence on the amount of scenes that were interior bathtub?
I have to say that's probably zero me as a concept of colors in bathtubs, but I have very strong memories of those shoots, like when we did the pilot. I always remember Lena eating a cupcake is she in the bath or the
She's in
shower?
the bath and Marnie's like
Yeah.
sitting on the
On the edge
side.
being like, Charlie is so
Yeah.
awful.
And I just remember her directing because Lena had come from doing an independent movie where I believe her crew was 8 people and Lena was the star and doing craft service herself. And it looks incredible. Jody Lee Lipes, our DP for the beginning of the show, did an incredible job. But Lena hadn't worked with a crew of 80 or 100 people before, and now we're shooting the pilot and she's naked and she's in a tub and she's eating a cupcake, and then she cut, like she had to be the
That
director and
is
the leader of our production while doing these scenes, which are very vulnerable and revealing. And she was really awesome in how she took the reins of that.
I can't even imagine. And
I,
she's like what, 24 years old?
Yeah, and it's hard. It's hard to be anyone's boss. I mean, I remember when I was the executive producer of the Ben Stiller show, and I was the same age. I was 24, and I just was so ashamed to ask anyone to do anything. We had all these crew
Right.
people, and they were great at their jobs, and they were much older than me. And I just thought it is so wrong that I could even talk to any of these.
oh, but yet you did.
Yeah.
That's right.
Is there any I feel like there's so many like getting every plot line of like a season arc down. Was there any episode or like end of a season that you were like, what do we do? Like, what choice should we make on where this storyline goes? Is there any one that sticks out?
For the next season, like, do we know what the next season's going to be?
Like, okay, well, the specific thing I'm thinking of is like how talked about the ending of Girls is. So that episode Latching, it has so many opinions. The Reddit thread goes nuts.
I've never seen this. What's the debate about it?
People are like, why would it end like that? Why is she going upstate? Why is she throwing it all away? Like, what the hell is Marnie doing up there? Like, I feel like everybody is freaking out, or people are like, should it be about her baby?
Well, it felt like the episode before was such like a closure on everything. Like you got a lot of story endings, and now she's pregnant. All her cycles are starting again. All these patterns you think Hannah's worked through are like immediately there. So
Yeah.
people are really
I
left.
remember when we all kicked that around, and the idea was whenever a show ends, you have the finale, and then you wonder like what happened to them, like what happened to them, and it drives you crazy. And the Sopranos ending was a great way to deal with that, which is we're just going to end in the middle, and it doesn't even matter. Like we're just jumping out of this story, and you could debate it forever.
Right.
But we thought, what if we just jumped ahead, 6 8 months, and you see it, and you just go, we're just going to do this little weird extra episode where you see where it lands in the future. That would be a weird thing that you've never seen before. And it does become, about having to be adult enough to handle the baby, and the fact that it's not all happy. Like it's so hard to raise a baby and to know what you're doing, and people get postpartum depression and people have meltdowns about it, and to show that Marnie really is there for it. And I think you both put up the clip recently of that, right? Where it's the scene where she says, Shoshana's not here, Jess is not here, I'm here, I'm the best friend, I win. I love that scene and that idea that that's what would happen, is that Marnie would be the one person that would continue to be in the foxhole with her.
It is when Marnie says I win. It's like, yeah, she did win. And it is so full circle because, of course, they start with like being in bed together, like cuddling or whatever. And then they end together.
I love
cuddling.
that pan up. I mean, but also it's like if there's a clip online, you think that we put it up there. The whole show is up on TikTok.
I know. Please don't make HBO sue us.
Well, there's a couple of images I always remember from those episodes. One was I love the shot on the last shot where you just hear the baby suckling the entire.
Oh my God.
And she's singing Fast Car.
Yeah. Mumbling Fast Car. I just like that because all these shows, always end with music, and to just do something like that with sound is fun. And then the 80 Bryant moment with Alex Karpovsky when they're on the
Ferris wheel or whatever, or merry-go-round.
I just think that's just the sweetest shot, and I love the idea that both of those characters are there, and they're the ones who are happy more than anybody.
I know. It's Abigail and Ray forever. We need a spin-off of those two. Like, where are they now? I feel like they're in probably Brooklyn Heights with children.
I hope Red Hook.
I want a girls' universe. I'm all for that.
Yeah, let's make one.
Yeah, why not?
Why not? I am excited. We're pretending that Too Much is the spinoff where Hannah Horvath goes to London, but we'll see what happens.
I'm excited. I haven't read any of it. I'm sure it's amazing.
Do you have a favorite side character?
I mean, I loved Chris O'Dowd.
Oh my God, Thomas John.
We had been working with him a lot of that time on Bridesmaids, and he's just great. I'd have to say Sherry Appleby was fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
And really brave, and did some daring scenes, and that relationship was so twisted. And I just loved her on the show. She's definitely
that episode on all fours. It's like TV. What we need to make TV like that again.
For once.
Corey Stoll. Who had the relationship with Andrew Reynolds, the newscaster.
He was mean. I didn't like him.
Well, I meant as an actor. I don't mean that I support the behavior.
Right.
Elijah had so many evil boyfriends.
You only gave him evil boyfriends. I would love to see him have love.
That's true. I think sometimes, like, for comedy, you don't realize that it's so fun to put people in a terrible situation that you got them enough joy.
You like anger and bad boyfriends.
Yes,
it's good TV. It really does.
It does
make we lean drama over joy.
Yeah. Wait. Okay. The Adam and Hannah of it all. We have to discuss. You've
kind of invented girl porn.
Yeah. When Adam saves Hannah in Together, do you know what that did for the culture, Judd? Do you understand what chokehold it has on young girls everywhere?
They want that moment.
They want that so bad.
The idea that they can have an ugly haircut and a hot guy save them is like, so it's porn.
Even through
FaceTime. That was a hotly debated sequence, both in the writer's room and maybe with the fans, because the idea for that season was, what if they break up and everything they do, the whole season is separate, other than like bumping into each other, the way it happens when you break up with someone and then get back together 6 months or a year later. So what if we just showed what Adam's doing, show what she's doing, and that being apart makes her and him break down? Like, they both kind of have a nervous breakdown as a result of being apart. And then they would run, and it would turn into this Sandra Bullock movie. I think it was, on purpose, really romantic and really over the top, because it's so not the show in any way. But the debate in the room was like, is it too much? Is it too corny and creamy? Is it too positive? And my argument always was, it's a long life and a lot of it sucks and there's tons of suffering, but most people get a few of those in their life. And this is one of those for her.
Yeah, well,
we're still waiting for ours, but we're only in season 1 of our lives, I guess.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Wait, do you think Hannah and Adam are together today, though?
I don't. I that's my instinct is.
Do you think they follow each other on Instagram or it's
Yes,
over?
I think they do. Although maybe Hannah doesn't follow him, but she looks every day.
She
She
looks
doesn't
every
want him
day.
to.
Yeah, and he just kind of.
I don't think Adam has an Instagram because not even Adam Driver has Instagram.
Yeah,
That's
I don't
true.
think Adam has Instagram. I think that he has a flip phone. He went.
To have a flip phone in 2024 is so brave.
I've done that 3 times where I've bought the flip phone because I'm on the phone too much, and I swear I get it. I buy it. I buy my cell program, and I never take it out of the box for like a year, and keep paying for it for a year. I forget I even bought it, and then at some point I'm like, oh, I guess I should shut that phone off. I'm never
Yeah,
gonna do
but
it.
it's on the family plan, so it's cheaper anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's
Wait,
beautiful.
we have to ask about Maud being on.
Yes.
How was that? You were like,
Was
Maud,
that?
you gotta be a teen girl on this show.
Well, Maud is a great teen girl.
She's so good at it.
And I think we had the idea of showing her in a high school, and instantly you go, all right, well, who are the kids in that high school? And it made sense to have Maud become a friend. And that was a big moment, I think, for Maud, just in her acting career, in the sense that she got to play some really fun scenes with Lena. She got to have her tongue pierced on the show,
So
which,
painful to watch. I hated editing that clip.
yeah, it looks so real. It's a
Yeah.
really good, like, fake tongue piece
I'm
because
like, shout out the props
yeah,
department. They killed that.
they did a good job. And so I think, that's Euphoria pipe right there. That is Euphoria.
That's
That's like,
Euphoria.
It's so interesting she's almost playing the same age between both roles, 10
you
years
know,
apart.
she's the Dick Clark of young actresses.
He really is.
Yeah.
I love it.
That reference is too old. He used to be the reference of the non-aging person. But we'll
Who
have
is
to.
Dick Clark?
Dick Clark was the Ryan Seacrest of his era. He was.
Who's Ryan Seacrest? No, I'm kidding.
The eras are changing so fast. Churn of the world is happening right in front of our very eyes.
I love Ryan Seacrest. I used to have a shirt when I was a little girl that said, I heart Ryan Seacrest.
That I would be going Ryan Seacrest's show a lot, and his like top 40 show, and then one day they said, do you want to host it when Ryan's out of town? So I hosted his top 40 show. But as I talked about each artist, I made like a really funny but maybe cruel joke about every single music artist as I announced the top 40 over 3 hours. And I feel like maybe I went too far.
Did Katy Perry DM you being like, hey, let's work it out on the remix?
I don't think they wanted me mad. I think feelings got hurt. I think Migos could have been mad. I'm trying to think who the bands were at the time.
All 3 of them? Oh, God. That is
but you're a seasoned radio host, right? Is that true?
I was the head of my high school radio station, Sasset, New York's WKWZ radio, which didn't get very far out of the parking lot, but we treated it like the world was listening. And that's where, I was first treated as an adult by running this radio station when I was a kid.
We're following in your footsteps, but it's podcast edition.
This feels like it. This is exactly what it was.
Really? Yeah, we're going to make a podcast so we can talk to comedians.
Yeah, that's what I did. I was like, how can I meet Jerry Seinfeld? I need to start a radio program. This is
high school.
3 or like so long ago. But I feel like in my head, I wanted podcasting to exist. I didn't even know what podcasting was, but I just wanted to talk to people for an hour. I just knew I needed to talk to people for an hour. And,
I love being like young Judd, just like I need to talk to them for 1 hour. That's how I feel. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
Girl, get your Glock. It's rapid fire time. We're going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions. You have to answer as quickly as you can. Don't think twice. Are you ready, Judd?
I'm very ready.
Are you a schoolgirl or are you getting schooled, girl?
I'm getting schooled, girl.
What's your favorite utensil?
Fork.
Why is Marnie mad at you?
I didn't call her back quick enough.
What song would you want Heather, Travis, and the Twist Arounds to sing at your celebration of life event?
That's a very deep reference that I'm even lost on the reference. What was this band? Tell me who the band.
This was the episode where Hannah goes home in season 1, and
The
she
Return.
goes on a date, and the Heather Travis and the Twister
Who's moving to LA, but Hannah does not think she'll make it.
Yeah.
And she's
Okay,
performing at her Missing Friends.
You're All I've Got Tonight by the Cars.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Ooh.
Did Adam really need to get hit by a van in the season 1 finale of Girls?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was definitely necessary. I love people get hit by a van in television.
Oh yeah. I mean, my friends are getting hit by vans almost every day, it feels like.
Sometimes you just get like clipped by the van. It's not like a full hit.
Yeah.
It's just you're around a little bit.
A car ran over my foot once.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's in Seth Rogen's character in Knocked Up. His foot got ran over by a postal truck, and he lives on the money that he got from the settlement.
I should have gotten one of those.
That happened to our friend who got his pinky finger broken by a moving car, and he didn't have to work for 6 months.
It's
kind of the best deal ever.
Sweet workers' comp if you can get it.
Would you let Maud get a tongue piercing at 14 with her substitute teacher?
I think that I wouldn't be cool with that. In fact, I think that if I remember correctly, we had a no earrings till end of high school rule. And
not even one piercing.
Like no piercings till 18 rule, or maybe 16, but they really waited a long time. And now the numbers are accelerating as a result. I feel like you get a swing back where you delay it too much and then they want too many after.
Right. Iris turned 18 and got 12 piercings immediately.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Has anyone ever treated your heart like monkey meat?
Like monkey meat? Of course. I've been through the monkey meat grinder many, many times.
Oh, is that how they make McDonald's?
That's the pink slime. That's how you get the pink slime.
What is the meaning of this fucking cunt parade?
That's a good one. See, I'm not witty. My writing generally is not witty. I would always leave it to the staff, to Lena and Jenni, because I wish I had that wit that I could come up with like new terminologies like that.
Well, you invented culture, Judd. Don't sell yourself short.
But with no wit, no turns of phrases.
Right. It's hard.
That's a damn good one. That's a good one.
It's almost as good as Juicy Scoop with Judd, I would say. It's up there.
LOL. What do you have to say to Mimi Rose Howard?
To Mimi Rose, just cool it. Just cool it.
Literally.
It's like everything's not so important. Just be one of us for a little while.
Yeah, come on.
I actually have to disagree with you, even though it's not. No one asked me to question. I like her crazy. Are you the voice of your generation or a voice of a generation?
I am a nasal voice of a schlubby generation.
Put that on a coffee
It's the
mug.
most Jewish sentence I've ever heard.
Would you rather live in an ugly building with a view of a gorgeous building, or a gorgeous building with a view of an ugly building?
I always felt like I don't care about the exterior. It's all interior. I don't understand I need to be in a nice exterior building.
Yeah.
I don't even get the debate. There's no debate at all. I don't care about the outside.
Oh, don't touch Shoshana that. If you had one piece of advice for girls who want to make the next girls, what would it be?
Just do not censor yourself. Just go all the way. I mean, that's really what Lena did. She just went as far as you can go. And I think when you rewatch the episodes, you forget how far some of them go. And that is
you might, but we don't
remember.
What about the one where she's with her mom and she's at some sort of weird spa?
Oh my God, the
spring queening.
Tammy Sager wrote that one.
Yeah, how would you explain what happened in that scene to the people who haven't seen it?
Well, something scary happened to her in a sauna. where a woman who's addicted to goji berries only sexually assaulted her.
Bring back goji berries. Those aren't in the culture anymore. Okay, last question. What's Badusi?
What is that reference?
What season is it? It's Shoshana. When she gets in the fight with Jason Rittman, and she's like, "It's butt, dick, and pussy, duh."
You got real line delivery on that one.
Smell of that, or is it
he created microwavable rice. I don't know if that strikes a chord with you, but
it smells like butt, dick, and pussy.
Yeah.
Okay, I get that now. See, some of those I blacked out on, and like they're not in my memory. I repressed some of those expressions.
Yeah, well, that does bring us to our final segment.
That
outfit in Brooklyn.
That's where we compare Brooklyn then versus Brooklyn now.
So much has changed. It's been 10 years. When you think about the show and like the time it was invented in and then the time now, like what do you think are the biggest cultural shifts?
In Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn specifically. I don't know if you spend a lot of time in Brooklyn, but I feel like...
and you can use Silver Lake.
Silver Lake counts.
The shifts between Brooklyn when my Grandma Belle and Grandpa Leo had a pharmacy in Brooklyn in the early 20th century versus now. That's what I compare it to, is the fresh immigrant Jewish people in Brooklyn going to my grandfather's pharmacy. But between now and then, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people who are going to Brooklyn with families. Is it getting a little more like richer people who got kids? Brooklyn, it seems like Brooklyn's getting a little more adults, maybe.
Yeah. Greenpoint, we definitely can't afford Hannah's apartment. That would be for a family that works in tech, I think.
All four.
So it's been
the kids too.
Fully gentrified.
Yeah,
and I wish we had your grandparents' pharmacy too, because
still around?
I went to Walgreens today and it took me 4 hours to get through the line. I wish I was exaggerating.
Yeah, we don't have it. We just know that Grandpa Leo made my dad work there as a child, and it might have been kind of a child labor situation.
Oh,
those are always the best places, though.
We just went to a Chinese restaurant. That was that. It's alive and well.
Yeah, using the family way too much to run the pharmacy to save from having to pay for real employees.
I love it.
A real problem.
Right. Another question I had is I think it's very interesting to see like Hannah Horvath or Lena's impression on social media today. I feel like a lot of conversations that we continually like were on girls and were first perpetuated there have really slipped into the culture because of girls. Why do you think that this generation of people have really latched, I mean, we were saying it earlier, but like have really latched on to the writing styles of like speaking like Lena Dunham and posting like we would think Hannah would?
I think that she was honest to a world that she understood, that she was satirizing young people who thought they had the world coming to them and maybe weren't working hard enough or smart enough. And there seemed to be like a moment where people didn't realize that was the point of the show, that it was making fun of a certain group of people, loving them, but also satirizing them. And for a while, people are like, wait, do they know what they're doing? And I think that people now can tell that it's a comedy, and maybe it feels more like a comedy because you get in so much trouble for talking like this. And I feel like there's so much self-censorship in how everybody expresses themselves to everyone because there's so much sensitivities to language. But back then they were just going really, really hard. And, there is a fun comedy in, being awful or not knowing how dumb you're being. And I think that people are a little more afraid of that these days. But I think in life, everyone's, still like that. And so when you see it on the show, it feels like something that should be made fun of or talked about. None of it was ever meant to say it was right. It was just more like, this is what people do.
Right. It's
That
definitely interesting getting comments because we have a lot of millennials who watched it when they were in their 20s that were like, it was literally painful. It made me feel bad and weird, and I couldn't get through it. And then we have like Gen Zers watching for the first time now being like, this is awesome. This is so real. I love it. I don't feel weird about it at all. And it's like such a difference of like, they're both 23 and watching it, but like Gen Z is like, this is awesome. Slay. But the millennials are like, I can't believe I was like that.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if younger people think they don't really behave like that, and so they can laugh at it more. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
It really always was being aware that it was about entitlement. And that's why the pilot is about a young person asking their parents to support them while they just try to become a writer, because it was about entitlement. It was about stealing money from the housekeeper. And
Yeah.
that was the joke of it, not a person not realizing how awful that is. But
Right.
Right, the perfect metaphor. I mean,
yeah,
and I do think going back to the point where it's like Gen Z, I think is definitely values authenticity in such an insane way because of social media and like watching that. I think Hannah's one of the first like Gen Z characters we almost see on TV. Like she is like entitled. She's so like pro her own voice and pushing her narrative forward. And I think that's something where it's like why people in Gen Z are really enjoying this show today, because it's the only thing on TV that feels like it was like written for them in a way, even though it was
yeah,
written
it's very
10 years prior.
confessional. I mean, I think that some of the first stuff Lena did were YouTube videos with her, swimming in the fountain at her college. And, she made a few films before Tiny Furniture, which were on, I think, the Tiny Furniture Criterion. And you could see how this voice evolved. And it was always very confessional. And that's, in a way, was what part of the nudity was about, was just like, this show is just completely open in every way and is going to go deep into her psychology, into her sexuality. And that is what the world turned into. And there was a moment, and who knows if it's passing or not, where people are get mad at you for admitting, the jokes you made 10 years ago. They dig in and go like, what's the worst thing you ever did? And can we be mad at you about it? But at the time when we were making the show, I think people still felt kind of free to be outrageous. Like,
Right.
that's why I think a lot of people got in trouble for their old tweets, because in the earliest moment of Twitter, people were also trying to make each other laugh and trying to shock each other. And people didn't think anyone would pay attention, and everyone was testing the limits of it. And then for some people, years and years later, people were like, oh, you're in trouble because you said
Yeah.
that. But at the time, that was the culture of it. It almost felt like it came out of South Park, that people loved
Right.
South Park so much that they thought, oh, you can go really, really far. And I
Right.
part of that was the environment that Girls was made in. There wasn't an enormous amount of
Right. And it's so
concern.
unapologetic.
Yeah, that it was unapologetic. And then during the making of the show, you felt the world maybe wondering about it. And I
Yeah,
have
when it was filming, like when you guys were in like season 2 or whatever, and all these thought articles on like Vulture, BuzzFeed, or whatever, were you feeling that pressure, that conversation, or a need to like respond to all the hate it got? I feel like now people watch it and they're like, slay, no problems. But in 2014, everybody was like, how dare you?
Well, we certainly debated everything in the writers' room, and I think the thing that Jenni, Konner, and Lena Dunham can be really proud of is that they dealt with it in ways that they felt comfortable and that were creatively appropriate for the show, but they didn't lose the show. They didn't lose the style of the show. They didn't, back down from their sense of humor or the type of stories they wanted to make, which is a really hard thing to do, because it was the first moment where the social media and Twitter was really loud and you could get a lot of people coming at you really hard. And it was the first time where all of us were going, well, how much of this do you listen to?
Mm.
And
Right.
does this really represent the fans? Who does it represent? And what if this is accurate? What should we change based on feedback we're getting? And I think if you look at the 6 seasons of the show, it didn't fall apart as a result of it. And I think there were
Right.
a lot of good things and good changes that happened as a result of us trying to figure out how to do better. A show like this, we have a great writers' room. There's so many brilliant people, who are part of this discussion, not just us. and it stirs the pot. And then you just start thinking about different things you could write about and how it could apply to all this. And are there unique ways to take in that information and do something interesting with it? So I think it probably did, but not just like we're scared, so we're going to do this now. It's just more like a deeper conversation happened about all of it.
I love it. I'm so interested because you've worked on so many shows and done in so many different eras of television, like streaming and whatever, like all these different changes. Is there anything that stands out that was like unique to Girls that you haven't really felt in other shows that you've done?
I think it's very special when you have a unique voice like Lena's on a show. It's pretty rare. The only other time I experienced it with this type of storytelling was at the Larry Sanders Show with Gary Shandling.
Mm-hmm.
And when we did that show, it was the early days of HBO doing really great television, and Gary led the way, but also the production didn't support it in a way that made sense for how much work it was, because Gary was the co-creator, and he's the head of the show, and he's responsible for the editing, and he's responsible for all the writing, and he was exhausted. And I feel like one of the things that we were able to do with Girls was to come up with a way to make the show that wouldn't bury Lena, so she could be creative and have fun and have bandwidth to do it. It was still a lot of work. But I think that she was, similar to Gary, and she dug deep and she told her truth, and she was self-lacerating at times, and that they were similar, other than the fact that Lena loves writing. Some people, if a script was bad and Gary had to fix it, he was like, oh God, I'm too tired, I can't do it. Lena enjoyed disappearing and fixing the script. Or if we didn't have a script, a lot of those scripts that you love, those bottleneck scripts, the way they got written was we were having trouble fixing a script. Lena would say, I'm going to go home and fix it, and then come back with a completely different script and write those over the weekend sometimes.
Right. There's so many episodes where she's like, it poured out of me. And I'm like, okay, well, it's really good. What you just happened to pour out, girl.
Yeah, and they would. I mean, one of the great pleasures of working on the show was, getting an email with the draft, or or whatever, and sitting and reading what Lena had written over the weekend and being kind of blown away, because a lot of times it really would feel like, to a normal person, this would have taken a couple of months. Like, it was really polished, and it was over a weekend. And I think that was, the most special part for me, was just to go, man, is she a good writer? And that's always the best part. When Jenni Konner directed the episode where Adam and Jessa tear up the apartment, they get into a fight and they break every single thing in the apartment.
Oh my God.
I believe that was the first episode she directed. I could be wrong. And just being like, wow, she's a great director. Like, that's the fun for me, is to see everyone, as everyone got stronger, like, we all met each other. Like, what is each person capable of? And wow, they all got a shot to really do their best. They were all challenged and rose to the challenge and had these amazing moments, like emotional and comedic.
What did you guys do to not bury Lena?
What did we do?
Yeah, like, what were the precautions that you guys set up so she could have the creative freedom?
Well, having a really, really strong writing staff, just, scheduling in a way that made sense, having enough time to write before the season starts. Even who writes which scripts, and how do you break your stories in a way that, when you start shooting the season, you've written enough that, what usually happens on shows is, say you have 10 episodes before the season starts, maybe you have 4 and you're writing them as you're shooting, and then everyone starts having a nervous breakdown. So it's always, how many can you write before you roll? Because you're also learning about the show and the season as you're shooting. So you don't want it to be super locked, just in case something comes up. And I think that everybody, especially Jenni Konner, who ran all of that, was very thoughtful about, okay, this is how many scripts each of us should work on. And, sometimes we would pair up, and, which ones were going to be hard, which ones would be easy, which ones should Lena direct, like just thinking about her time to know when it might pile up in a way that would be really, really hard. But the thing that made it possible is she loves writing. So a lot of the thing that melts you down on show is you're so tired you can't think. And then
Right.
you can't figure out how to fix a story. And for the most part, that didn't really happen to Lena. I think that that's her safe, happy place, is alone with the computer.
That's amazing for it to happen that way for her.
Yeah, I don't have that. Every time I sit down at a computer, I'm thinking, now I'm going to find out if I'm a bad writer.
Right. I feel like everyone we know who's a writer is like, and it's hell every day for me.
Yeah, it is a very painful thing, but there are those people that they just love that mental space of being like that.
Well, okay, we're winding down. I do want to ask if you could go back in time and sit down to coffee with 2012 Judd and tell him one thing about HBO girls now, what would you have to say?
If I could go back to what year and tell myself about
2012.
2012. Obama just won his second term.
Yeah. And what would I say about? I would tell my 2012 self something.
Yeah.
I would just give myself a hug and say it's gonna be okay.
Aww.
But I always need that hug. I always need, I always need a little rock. So that's what I would do. But I have to say, and obviously, everyone on the show worked way harder than me. That's the most important thing to know. But this was really one of the great experiences. Me and Jenni and Lena got along great the entire time. The staff was always really great. We didn't have a very dramatic, infighting type of environment. The network was incredibly supportive. The people on the show, Kat and Casey Bloys and Richard Plepler, who ran HBO, like, people loved the show at HBO. So you didn't have that resistance of a lot of people going, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like,
right.
People loved it. The staff was generally, for a show, pretty happy the whole time. And so I look back at it as just a great experience. And I always say to Lena, like, we made it through the whole thing and we didn't have one like real fight.
Wait, that's amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah. And it's easy to have a fight because you care so much. So everyone was really in sync about what we were trying to do and proud of it. So I would say to 2012 Judd, it worked out. You won a BAFTA for Best International Comedy in 2012 or 13. You have a BAFTA somewhere in storage.
Oh my God, to have a BAFTA in storage. What a dream. Would you ever bring the gang back together for a new project called Woman?
I'm game. If anyone ever wants to do Woman, WOMYN, I'm there.
Period.
Well, that's kind of all our questions.
I know. Well, do you have any theories on where any of the characters are at now? And no pressure, because we've talked to everybody and they're like, I have no idea what. They're
like happy. I'm like, we don't want to hear that.
Yeah, we ran into Jemima and she was like, I hope she's doing well.
Yeah, that's always a hard question. Because when they ask about Freaks and Geeks, I'm like, a third are in jail.
Right.
We know that. But for these, where are they? I don't know. Maybe Hannah works for she works for the Daily Beast. And she's got downsized, and I think she's unemployed. She just worked for the Daily Beast, and now she's unemployed because they reduced staff.
Brutal. Absolutely brutal.
Oh, I know. For her to be a journalist, I don't know. I hope she got the professor tenure.
Yeah. Yeah, like her parents. Or just her mom.
Yeah. Where do you think Shoshana is?
Shoshana is doing better than everybody else.
We think she's on her second marriage, right?
She's on her second marriage, and she may be in charge of programming for YouTube TV.
Oh, no one could have ever guessed that except for Judd Apatow. Now that's a crazy one.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for chatting with us. This is
fun.
Literally heaven on earth. Do you have any last words that you want to say on Girls?
Happy it exists, and I haven't done the rewatch, so I'm going to do the rewatch, and then I'll listen to all of your episodes because I do need to rewatch it. I'm pretty bad about that. I don't resist it generally. I just don't do it. So it's not like I'm not going to do it. I just don't. But I really should watch all of them again, and I will do it with your guidance.
Yay! Wait, and what's coming up for you? Because I know you're just filming something.
Well, I'm doing a documentary about Mel Brooks for HBO, which I'm very excited about. And I'm at the Beacon Theater November 9th, nycomedyfestival.com.
I cannot wait.
And writing a movie, hoping to make another movie next year.
Yay.
You should rewatch with Iris.
She's done it. They beat me to it.
I know. Wait. Oh yeah, I forgot. We've gotten half your family on. We're talking to Leslie next for sure.
Okay. Go get her.
Well, thank you so much for making the time to chat. We're so excited for your new projects, and watch our clips anytime.
Okay. See you guys.
Bye.